Woods, where there's a story in every bottle.
Hi. Whoa. Technologically challenged.
Persevered yet again.
Yes.
You know, we've been doing this show for 3 years.
Are we live? Can you hear me? But you can't see me?
Well,
Because I'm downstairs.
complicated.
Each time I think that anyway, it's not your problem. Sorry for the slide today. We did fix the technical. We didn't necessarily fix. We found a workaround for our technical difficulties. So thank you for joining us. Ken will be. Yes, here he is.
I'm here.
Ken is
Did
here.
you hear me? I was talking to you from downstairs.
I couldn't because you were. So you were talking to them.
I was.
You were on. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
So cheers.
Technology.
We're back.
Yeah. Cheers.
You know, three of us haven't been here together for a
Way
live
too
show
long.
in a long time.
I haven't seen each other for.
Weeks.
We all been together since our last adventure.
Since we sailed.
Since Champlain?
Since Champlain.
I've been with him. You've been with him.
Yeah.
I've been with you. But
We haven't been together since the middle of September.
that's a problem, guys.
A month and a half.
We need to
fix
straighten that
this.
Priority.
So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us again on this Monday. Sorry we've been absent from the show for a couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on here at Hermit Woods, a lot of changes, and we've been busy and traveling, and so it hasn't been easy. But thank you for your understanding, and glad you could join us today. And before I get into the topic of the conversation, I want to just remind everybody, if you're joining us for the first time, please like or subscribe to our channel. You can subscribe on YouTube right below Chuck there, and you can subscribe on Facebook with a little bell in the corner. And if you're joining us for the first time, please leave comments in the comment section to let us know that you're here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions that you like, and we'll do our best to get to your questions on the program live. And if not, we'll answer them after the program. And while you're at it, and if you're here, let us know what you're drinking today. If you're joining us with a beverage, we're drinking Farnham Hill Extra Dry Cider. There we go, right there. If those of you who may not know, Farnham Hill is one of the oldest and often considered the father of modern cider in New England, anyway.
Yeah.
And been around probably 30 years,
Yep.
something like
Yep.
that.
Steve's been doing this for 30 years.
And quite frankly, I think makes one of the best ciders that I've ever
Oh, yeah.
drank. It's always enjoyable. I never have an issue with Farnham Hill cider. It's always delicious.
May it run even deeper than that? I mean, isn't he sort of the father of the rebirth of cider, period, in the U.S.?
I think he is. You know, it really wasn't happening. It was sort of a forgotten art
Right.
in this country. And both him and both Steve and Chuck Souther at Apple Hill in the 80s experienced a big shift in the wholesale market for apples, Macintosh, sweet apples, that they were both growing. And they both decided to pivot and shift and start planting heirloom cider apples as well as other things.
Right.
And Apple Hill Farm outside of Concord, Chuck Souther, he and his wife Diane diversified their farm, and they planted various veggies, different types of berries, had a U-pick format to their system. Steve Wood at Farnham Hill, Poverty Lane Orchard, he decided to shift to heirloom cider apples and also to make heirloom cider. And that was the switch. Both of them made that switch in the 80s and started on their path. And Steve has been instrumental in raising awareness on hard cider in this country. And really the old world, the origin of hard cider being in
These apples.
present days in Normandy and in Great Britain. And, like he says here, the varieties that he works with, Dabinet, Ashton Bitter, Ellis Bitter, Golden Russet, Wixon, Esposa Spitzenberg, and others. So, the same sort of things that go into our Firewood and Kittens and any other heirloom dry cider.
So,
is a blend.
although it may be able to be debated whether he had an impact on the national cider scene, it could be argued at least that he did.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
so.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah, I think it
definitely.
could be argued.
Yeah, I mean, there may have
Yeah.
been other people at that
Right.
time, just like in the beer industry. There
What
were a
cider
couple-
did you drink in the 80s? I mean, it had like Mott's, like juice,
It
apple
was barely
juice.
legal to drink cider.
Right. I mean, it really
No,
just
actually, that's not true.
wasn't, I
Yeah.
don't remember it at all.
No,
right?
no.
I mean,
No, there's Welch's grape juice.
Yeah.
There's Mott's apple
Mott's
juice.
apple, I
It's
mean,
just,
wasn't a thing.
it was
right?
juice. It was just
Yeah.
unfermented.
And I had a cider the other day I shared with you that I got from Gargiste that came from England. And oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
this was the best. Actually, this was the best cider I've ever had. It was.
I had one
it
at
was
a
perfect
conference
in
that
every
was,
way.
yeah, it was really, really good. Too.
Yeah.
They're great when they
The
leave.
Europeans have been making cider
Europeans have had cider.
more consistently
Yeah,
for a
right.
long time.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you always talk about when you're in London, you
Yeah, no,
get
their ciders are great.
London
Yeah.
cider.
Well, when you go to like a farmer's market or something, that's when the local farmers' version of cider come out. You go to a pub, they've got Magners or some.
Yeah, they got the big draft
the big
distributors.
heavy hitters,
Yeah.
they're the
You get Magners here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're sweeter, more available to the general public.
Right.
Types of cider, not this more austere, more flavorful.
Right, and
more
that's
bitter,
the
more
art, is
tannic.
to try to have that balance of,
Yeah.
of bitter and tannin and grippy and fruit,
Right.
to have it all go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't intend to have a show about cider, but
No,
I'm
we
glad
just
you
started
brought
that way.
this
I just,
because this is great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it because I haven't had Farnham in a while, and you've recently connected.
oh,
with-
Steve and I have had
with
some
Steve.
fantastic conversations and talking about the art, although he doesn't like using the word of the art of crafting things, but we have all
He's a
sorts of
farmer, not an
discussions.
artist.
Yes, he has farmer. He talks about all the effort in the hands of pruning and working. But blending apples is a bit akin to blending different fruit to come up with the wines that we come up
Sure.
with here.
Yeah.
And
Lots
you're
of
looking for
layers.
that balance. You're looking for how various fruits fill holes that the other fruits can't fill.
Right. Well,
Oh, that's fun.
it's delicious.
great.
If you
It
have
is
not
delicious.
had a Farnham Hill cider, it's pretty widely available. across
Highly
New
recommended.
England. There's no excuse. If you drink cider at all, you should
Yeah.
definitely try this brand.
Yep.
It's been around a long time, and it really is. It's the best cider in New England.
And he's done us some good this year in that he's brought us the Kingston Black Apples
And quince.
and Quince. That we were. there's
Thank
been
you,
a
Steve.
A crop failure this year as a matter of our production, and he's come through and helped us when we were out of options. Right.
Yep.
We just wouldn't have like.
I found one guy
We wouldn't have
in
cider.
Rhode Island, all the
Yeah.
way down on Long Island Sound, that had some quince.
At Quince.
So I could have gone down there to get
Yeah.
quince. But
Well, I mean, we talked about this in the last few shows.
it's a challenging
Our
year.
fruit year this year has been the most difficult fruit year we've had in a long time, with many of the major fruits that we use in some of our wines not being available to us because of the May 18th frost.
Yeah.
And it's actually coupled two things. There was a challenge in the winter with bud kill because of a deep freeze at
Yep.
some point in
Yep.
the winter.
Yeah.
And then there was the May 18th frost on top of it. So
Right.
grapes.
And there was a warm wave that came through in April. So it kind of got sap
Boosted
flowing
everything
and,
going, yeah.
and bud swelling, and then a really hard cold snap in May. Just nuked it all.
Let's hope for a better year next
I
year.
hope so.
So
It's difficult, challenging for sure. I mean, I spent the entire day yesterday driving all the way out across Vermont and out on I-90, all the way out, and then turn around and come all the way back. But I met a guy in a parking lot of a Denny's off of I-90 in Herkimer, and he had driven 4.5 hours, 5 hours the other way from south of Buffalo with 270 pounds of little and kiwi berries that he and his wife had grown. And a different Steve, Steve Rudnick, he and his wife planted. They sold a number of their kiwi berries at a local farm stand, but they had some excess, and they had reached out to us looking for a buyer, and
Right. I got an
and
email
that's
from them. And I
that.
sent
So
it
that
to
was a
you.
connection, and
So that's another interesting story. And some of you have heard this. We've talked about this before too. But on May 17th, Ken and I were riding our motorcycles through Pennsylvania, and it dawned on us that we were going to be in the vicinity of Kiwi Dave. And so we randomly grabbed his number and gave him a call. And sure enough, he was there at the farm in a little
Kiwi
bit of a
Corners.
panic. Kiwi Corners in Danville,
Pennsylvania.
Danville, right?
Danville, yep.
Danville, Pennsylvania, and he said, "Yeah, come on by. I'll be really busy because I'm concerned
Worried about a
the
freeze."
weather."
Yep.
And we showed up. It was a perfectly sunny,
Beautiful day.
blue sky day, and we rolling hills of the most beautifully coiffed vineyard of
Oh,
kiwi berries.
his vineyard's gorgeous.
It was
Yeah.
spectacular, and he greets us with this long face, saying that the forecast is for 2 hours of hard freeze that night, and he was in fear that he was going to lose his entire crop. And after spending a couple hours with him and taking a tour of the place, we reached out the next morning, and sadly, he did. He lost.
He said he lost.
90
He
or
estimated about
95%.
80%.
80. Is that what
That was the estimate the next morning.
Yeah. So we
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
but
But I remember waking up. I slept outside on our glamping platform, and my sleeping bag was covered with frost.
I remember being right on the edge, and I was wrapped tightly inside.
I was
tent.
plenty warm. I was plenty warm, but
It was cold. It was down to 27 degrees that
is
night.
that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was fine.
That's called winter camping.
Yeah. Glamping.
Yeah. So anyway, so
Hey, we got to talk about this. Maybe this Thursday we're going up to a retreat.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Yeah, let's talk
Yeah, we
about
got to
that.
talk about that.
Let's talk about this.
All right, let's talk about that too.
So we thought, since the three of us haven't been on this show together in probably a couple of months. I mean, we saw each other for the sailing, but before, it's been a while since the three of us have been.
Yeah, I think
together.
since we tried to do it sailing, and that didn't always go
It
so well.
did not. The internet is a funny thing. Funny thing. We can't get it to work when it really never works, and can't get it to work here half the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is, but you all probably know, or most of you know, many of you are our club members, and you probably know that that this was our club release weekend this past weekend, and it was really
Such a
fun.
good time.
It's always great because we get to see so many faces that we don't get to see that often here at the winery. And we'll see you out on the internet and on the show and in other various ways. But here at the winery, not as often. So
And it
great.
was gorgeous weather. We had
Beautiful
that
Saturday.
warm snap for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So everybody's out on the deck, just enjoying the warm weather. And
Boy, it flipped Sunday though, didn't it?
oh yeah, it did.
Sunday was wet and cold.
Well, more true to this time of year.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then I remember going trick or treating with the kids in the snow.
I wear it every year now because this used to never really be an issue, but the first snowstorm has often been coming while the leaves are still on the trees.
Right.
And that really stresses the trees
Sure.
because it covers the leaves hold the snow and add more weight. And
Snaps
that's what's gonna
branches.
happen. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of trees out there, and they're predicting possible snow soon.
Wednesday.
Yeah, they've already had it up north,
Yeah.
up in the
Yeah, up on the hills.
Yeah.
They're,
Oh, yeah,
all,
Mount
they're all
Washington
frosted.
had snow.
Oh, Mount Washington's covered, yeah. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we don't have a really heavy wet snow because that'll be devastating. Anyway, it's a great weekend. If you were able to get up this weekend, I hope we got a chance to say hello. If we didn't, sorry. We'll hopefully see you next time. If you are a club member and you didn't know this, you have 45 days to come on up and pick up your club shipment. And in fact, if you plan on being here after that 45 days, you just need to let us know, and we'll hold your wine shipment for as long as you need us to. So don't worry about that.
And all the club wines are open at the bar.
Yeah.
So when you
yeah.
come to pick up your wine, you can sample all 6 bottles.
For the next 45 days, and then
Yeah.
we'll discontinue that, and we'll go back to our regular tasting for the winter. And,
Right.
And if you didn't, just on that note, not everybody necessarily knows about this, but for the last couple of months, we've had the Proudly Contrarian tasting. So if you hadn't been in the last few months, you didn't see it. And a Proudly Contrarian tasting was an opportunity to try some of our less known wines, some of the wines that we don't have as much production of, so we don't offer them at the tasting bar as often. And we made up a special tasting sheet just
Yeah, it
for
was fun.
that.
We'll do that all next summer.
We'll
too.
do it next
Yeah,
summer. Yeah,
for sure.
many club members came in and took advantage of that opportunity to try those wines and try something different. And that'll be available again. So, but it's not available in the winter because we just don't have enough traffic through here.
Right.
And opening that many bottles of wine when there's not as many people tasting, we end up throwing.
I
it
know.
away.
Well, we
It's
end up drinking
crime.
a lot of extra
To drink
wine.
extra,
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of partials today to drink. So better get through this cider so
I'm
we
gonna
can.
get to it.
Yeah.
So what we decided to talk about today was the story, as you all know, with our club book every 6 months. We try and write a story that reflects something about what's going on here at the winery and talks oftentimes about our history, our past. And some of you may know that recently the U.S. Chamber of Commerce selected us as one of the top 70 small businesses in America out of 15,000 applicants. Sometime in the spring,
That was awesome.
I got notification that they were looking for candidates, nominees. And
I remember when you
invited
wrote
me to-
wrote up all that stuff.
Yeah, they invited us to write about ourselves and compete to be in that challenge. And out of 15,000 businesses around the country, we were one of 70 chosen.
Who runs this again?
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
So there's chamber offices in small towns all over the country,
Right.
and all of those offices are members of the larger organization, which is the National U.S. Chamber. It's a huge.
Wonder when that got started.
organization. I
Interesting.
would imagine a very long time ago.
Yeah.
If anybody knows out there when the U.S. Chamber
Yeah.
of Commerce first started, Matt, you must know. I bet you know.
I think it was George Washington.
Somebody could probably Google it.
So
George Washington,
early
yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Was
he
this
early
George
on.
Washington?
It was George
Here, let us know.
Washington, yeah.
So put it in the comment
certain of
section
that,
if you
yeah.
know the answer.
Yeah.
So for the story, I decided to share with you a version. It's a very close version. I made some minor alterations to make it more fitting for the book, rather than just purely a technical document. But I had to answer some really difficult questions about what sets
Yeah.
Hermit Woods apart from the other 15,000 businesses that didn't get selected for this award. And so I had to talk about some of the many things that we've done here at the winery to be good citizens of our community, good citizens of the planet, the care that we take for our employees, the innovations that we've created in our industry relative to the wines that we make and the methods that we use, business techniques that we might have selected or chosen as a way to operate our business that might be different or innovative.
Right.
Yeah,
They were good questions.
Yeah,
They're
they
very-
were.
Yeah, they're really probing in to see what businesses out there are really doing something different than the old, standard approach of you've got a product, here it goes, sell your product, try to make a profit, and keep going. They wanted to know more about the philosophy of the business and what measures we've actually been able to put in place.
I really enjoy, it's a lot of work to put these proposals together, but I really enjoy it because these questions force you to think about really hard.
Yeah, it helps you focus.
What is
on
it
what
you are doing or have done? And we've done a lot of really cool things here, but spread out over 12 years, we don't think about it or talk about it every day. So it gets lost in the morass of the day-to-day operation and the running of the business.
Yeah, I mean, we talked for years, so we wanted to have solar panels up on the roof.
It took years. Finally,
But we did that.
Yeah.
And it is great when you look back at all the things that we've achieved in a relatively short amount of time. It's pretty phenomenal, I think. It's really quite amazing. And still being true to doing something unique and special.
To the original mission that was born out of a conversation that evolved over many nights in my living room in
On your couch
Samberton,
with some
on my
scotch.
couch, and a few episodes of Mondovino.
And Mondovino, that's right. We
Still
still have
have
one
that.
more to finish.
One more disc.
One more. That's quite a hiatus, like 12 years.
12
We
years.
watched 9 out of 10 and we haven't watched the 10th one or something like that.
Do we have to watch all 9 again?
Probably.
You know what'll happen. We'll only get through 7.
Oh,
And it'll take another 10 years to do the rest.
So let's just a little background for those of you who may not be as familiar, this winery started in my home. As I tell in our tours, as the story goes, when we decided to open a winery, we needed to find a way to do it economically. And these two came over one day with
I think it was
the
him.
concept that my master bedroom was going to make the perfect tasting room, which, as the story goes, it ended up being.
It was good.
It was
nice with that little
Wow.
deck out there, and
Geraldine was present.
when the decision was made.
Yeah, well, she was, and
It
she
wouldn't
was
have happened if you
surprisingly all
weren't.
for it because it meant she didn't have to clean the whole house.
That's interesting. I don't remember that component, but boy, that does sound familiar, doesn't it? That's good.
Well, the truth was she still had to clean the whole house. It's just called two different things.
right.
She had more help.
She had more.
It actually was. Geraldine has always been as interested in wine as I have been. In fact, Geraldine, if people didn't know, is the reason that I'm really in this wine business. Actually, I could take this all the way back to before meeting you. When I met Geraldine, I had never been to a winery. And Geraldine had, before me, been to many wineries, and it was a favorite pastime of hers in
Really?
California. And
So we
as
owe
soon as
this
we
all
started
to
dating,
Geraldine.
in some ways.
Yeah.
As soon as we started dating,
Thank you,
she
Geraldine.
said, we need to go. You need to go with me. We need to go. And she had some special places that she had remembered from her
That
past.
she liked.
And
Yeah.
she took me to those, and I didn't need convincing. Every moment that we could get away from our busy
Yeah,
lives.
you really like doing that, but I didn't know she was the original
she
instigator of,
instigated it.
because you guys go to breweries, you go to meaderies, you go to wineries, you like doing that. You
We
guys take off
started
on the
in
weekend,
California,
but she started that.
and she did, and she's every bit as excited about it today as she was then.
And
She-
it fits you. I could see you, you love doing that sort of stuff, but she introduced you to it.
She introduced me
You
to it, and
didn't
she
know
was a big motivator of it. The two of us together, it was funny. There were some days I can remember when we were on the road in California, and we'd have a day, and we'd be in a new wine region, and there'd be 50 wineries
Yeah.
within 100 miles, and we'd be like looking at the schedules and how late they were open and the map, and can we get to 6, maybe 7? I think we could get to 8 if we get fast through this last one. And we'd be down to the last winery at the end of the day. It'd be like 4:30. And we're like, wait, there's one at 6. We can get there. It's only 12 miles if we get out of here quickly. And the two of us we'd collude with each other, and she's trying to be careful because she knows I'm driving, but didn't matter. She was like, we can do it, Bob. Come on, you can go a little faster. Come on, we can make it. It was really fun. It was like a game that we would, how
I
many
can see it.
wineries
Yeah. How
can
many
we-
could you do?
can
Yeah.
we do in a day?
Do you recall a record?
I think 8.
Like 8.
I think we hit 8
8 wineries
wineries
in one day.
Yeah. And
Do you remember any of them?
It was a full day.
It's all a blur now.
I say
It's
this a lot.
hyperspace of wine.
I say this a lot. I remember, a handful over the years. I probably visited 100 wineries, maybe more, in 11 years of traveling around California. And actually, it wasn't really 11, because I didn't start dating Gerald until almost midway through that. So it was about 6 years of living there that I really
That you did
focused on
tasting.
visiting wineries.
Right.
And we visited Temecula in the south,
Yep.
the Santa Maria area north of Santa Barbara. There were fewer areas. There were fewer wineries, a lot fewer back
Oh
then.
yeah. This is the 90s, right?
Yeah, there were 17 wineries in Paso Robles when I was starting there.
Only.
And now there's 400.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So Paso Robles and then Napa and Sonoma. And outside of Napa and Sonoma, there was a few wineries, but not many known
Yeah. So you're
regions.
still early before the explosion
This
of
is
winery.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it was-
before the
it had not
explosion. So
exploded.
these are the old established, Mondavi and Silver Oak and
Oh yeah.
various
Yeah.
places that sort of set the stage for quality wine.
And you know what motivated us when we were traveling through those vineyards? Even then, and I talk a lot about this now in our tours, but we always looked for the smallest wineries.
Yeah.
We'd look at the map and we'd see the Mondavis or the really big,
Right.
well-known wineries, and we have gone to those, but we'd always go to the smallest ones. And I tell everybody who comes through here, if you go to a wine region, do the same. Find the smallest wineries that are off the beaten path, that are not talked about as much in the media, and you will have the best experience. And you will for a couple of reasons. One, you're likely going to meet the winery owners, and you're probably going to meet the winemaker. And because it's small enough, they're the ones running the operation, as is the case here on many days. So that's the going to give you the best experience because it's going to be firsthand. It's not going to be the employees that are telling
Unless
the
you
story.
love the big Disneyland sort of thing, like you might get at Mondavi, where you're with a crowd and you go through, and there's someone speaking on a speaker over there, and that's it. So lots of people like that because obviously they all glom in and join in to create those crowds.
And even though I'm not one who would tend to like that, I remember like one major one is the Francis Ford Coppola winery.
Yeah.
It's a huge winery, but it's Francis Ford Coppola. I love his movies. So we did go there and we had a great time, but for different reasons, not for the reasons of love of wine.
Right. There was a big experience in that.
Yeah. And there were
in that person,
things
that
to
place.
do with his movies and a little bit about his history. So
It was probably a well-appointed winery too.
it was a So the other, what I was getting at is of all of those experiences, we're flying around California visiting these wineries.
You remember the little ones.
Well, no, I remember the ones that delivered the most incredible experiences, and I still remember them. There's a couple still in my head. 35 years later, I can still see the tasting room of these little wineries where
This has been your drive since we started. You are just
shaping the tasting
you
room.
are so on making sure everything's right for the person who walks in that door. You want to just blow them away. Just have them have the most incredible experience ever.
I absolutely do.
Yes, you do. I know you do.
Don't you?
Yeah. But I'm getting a little bit of a feel for where that came from now. I just like having life be enjoyable, so I want to share enjoyment with other people. But I can see this coming from your experience. I haven't been tasting at that many wineries or breweries.
Yeah, you've been to a lot of breweries. I've witnessed that.
Well, that's with you guys. I wouldn't go there.
It pales on the comparison of the number of breweries that I've been to.
Correct.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah. For every one that he goes
No, I
there
know,
with
I
us,
know,
he's
I
been
know.
to 5 with
I
Geraldine
get that.
or more.
Most I've been to is with you guys too.
To this day, Daryl and one of our favorite pastimes is to find a collection of breweries, wineries, cideries. I mean, I'm not picky anymore. There's so many options. There's so many great choices.
It seems like it needs to have alcohol in it.
Well, clearly.
Okay.
Well, there could be a kombucha.
Yeah.
It could be.
We've been to a
But then you
prejudiced
go for the
against
hard
any of the
kombucha.
alcohols.
And they don't all have alcohol.
Yeah.
Some does.
Yeah. Well, I only go to
You
the
did.
ones that have alcohol.
You did order all the hard kombucha when we went to the kombucha shop there.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Geraldine
wasn't there.
She'll drink kombucha without alcohol in it.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah.
But it's so that brings me to another interesting topic, which we've talked about on this a little bit. We touched on, but I just finished the book Drunk, and I'm going to another plug for it. If you haven't read it, or haven't heard of it, I highly recommend that you read it. If you have any interest in alcohol at all, especially if you're interested in a more educational fashion,
Philosophic aspect.
Philosophic aspects. Yeah, it's one of the best books I've read in a long time, and it just rung a lot of bells for me. It was easy to read. It was really. I mean, here's this philosophical.
Were you mostly drinking while you were reading it?
Never drinking while reading it.
Oh.
That would make it hard to read. Because when I'm drinking and I'm usually reading it at late at night, so I've usually probably had a couple drinks by then. And it is a deep book. It does dig in
Required,
pretty hard,
right.
so you got to pay attention. So but the premise of this book, which really goes to this conversation, is alcohol dulls the prefrontal cortex, which is your decision making, your organization making,
right.
the orderly part of your thinking. And by dulling that, your experiences are heightened socially and creatively and in many different ways. And so yes, when Geraldine and I go off visiting wineries and breweries, and part of it is to start by dulling that prefrontal cortex a little bit, not a lot, a little bit,
right.
so that we are loosened up, can have more fun, can engage with the people that we're experiencing this with more easily. The people at the breweries, the customers that are sharing the
Yeah,
experience
you're
with
more like a
us.
4-year-old. It's great.
Yeah.
There's no barriers. You just say what you're thinking, enjoy yourselves, look for the next thing that's fun.
It
Perfect.
works. It really works.
I know, I agree.
So the one thing, and I always want to caveat this, and it's interesting that he named the book Drunk.
Right.
I really find that fascinating.
Because it carries so many negative connotations.
So many negative.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get to that until the very end of the book. He doesn't address it, but he addresses it head on. He doesn't try
He
to
did that at the
sidestep
conference because the three of us heard him talk
Yeah.
in Nashville.
it. Yeah.
That's how we
That's
found
how
out
I
about
got
the book.
Found out about the book. Have either of you read it?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No.
You'll enjoy it. It's really good. So in the end, he does address that head on. And quite frankly, it is true. Drinking in moderation is definitely the way to go. Yeah. And he really points out, that one of the ways alcohol has been so demonized in the modern day is that we invented distillation.
Well, that was a problem.
We cranked it up so we can turn a 6% cider, which was very common, 5 and 6% cider,
Right.
into a 40% alcohol in a matter of minutes. And 40% alcohol is downright lethal in the wrong quantities. And so the ills of alcohol in the modern day, and literally we talk about 400 years as a long time. No, in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
since alcohol became known to us 10,000 years ago, 400 years is a mere blip on
Right.
the
Right.
radar.
It's the last, it was this thing of alcohol in the tapestry of life for millennia. And then in the recent times, it got amped up with distillation. And that changed everything.
It did.
And it's like absinthe was just, wreaking hell on parts of Europe. It's everybody just drinking till they passed out. Just
Gin in London.
And society,
gin in London, and yeah.
society to this day is suffering from the ills of the
Right. Well, you disassociate it from the nutritional aspects, the biosphere. The biosphere works. So fermentation is a natural process that happens. We dial it in and make it very pleasurable, but it's natural. You can eat a fermented apple that fell on the ground and get a little buzz from that alcohol, like other mammals do.
and the animals
And
too.
But as soon as we did that distillation, it's makes it.
Well, he points out, and he did this in the talk, but he also talks a lot more about it in the book. He said, you could drink your average alcohol, beer, or cider casually all day long and never be drunk.
Yeah.
0.08 that's a real number. That's if you scientifically, the reason that's the limit, the legal limit for driving is it's a real number. After 0.08, things start to change pretty quickly up here.
Yeah.
And your prefrontal cortex becomes so distorted.
Is so
And
distorted.
so
Right.
incapable of controlling your judgment
Yeah.
that you start behaving poorly and making bad decisions. And so
I wonder if I'm like at 0.08 all the time, or 0.1.
likely not.
Yeah, probably not.
No,
No, I've done a lot of studies with this with the breathalyzer, and it's definitely at that level, 0.08, I can really feel it. I mean, I'm pretty drunk, really.
Yeah, but if you were to drink,
you stay on
standard
that side,
alcohol beer, not pound it, but drink it casually, you could drink it all day long. You'll never hit 0.08.
No, right. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Maya and I will sit for hours talking, eating, drinking wine, and it's lovely.
Especially if you're having
It's
food.
it's enjoyable. Yeah, especially with food.
You'll have a much harder time. And oddly enough, I always like to make sure I have my first drink of the day before having food, so I can get the best
So you can
experience
get the launch?
possible.
You get as close to 0.08 as you can instantly.
Yeah, and then I have food and it dials it back, and then I can continue enjoing my
Right.
beverages for the rest of the evening without being drunk, because I don't want to be drunk. Drunk is no fun. I don't enjoy it. I've never enjoyed it, and those few times that I've accidentally gotten there, I'm usually regretting it. Either that moment
Especially the next
or
day.
the next day.
Yes.
I don't know anything about that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I dilute all spirits when I have them. Like a gin and tonic, for example, is at least
Well, you put a couple ice cubes in it.
it's at least ice and a third tonic.
A third.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
Is
good.
that about right?
I usually go 50-50, but that might be pretty good.
I can't keep up with either of you. So I don't know what the ratios are, but I can't keep up with either of you. But we do, I do remember all the time. We've been spending a lot of time together. You've had that breathalyzer for years.
Yeah.
And there's very few times that I've blown over 0.08 in any time we hang out together. And when we hang out together, we usually consume a fair amount of alcohol.
Right.
But this almost every time we've ever done that
Yeah.
experiment, I don't blow over 0.08
Yeah.
because I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable if I can help it. So I'm sure there's times we didn't.
Yeah, no, they're.
Oh, we didn't use it then.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's put that
I don't know how do we work this?
We don't have.
Put it in our ear or something. It doesn't work. Yeah.
So anyway.
So where are you going? You were talking
I
about
was
this
talking about
booklet
this book,
somehow.
No, I was talking about we talked about the idea that Gerald and I are traveling around visiting all these places. It always seems to have to do with alcohol. And I was pointing out that it does.
Yeah.
Because that little buzz that you get helps enhance the experience in fun and unique ways. So yeah, it is cool to go to wineries, cideries, and breweries, and it's a great experience. And any of you who do that as a pastime would probably agree. It's a lot of fun. And you ask half the people that come to our tasting room, how did you find us? Winery near me,
right?
Brewery near me, distillery near me, or occasionally best thing to do in Meredith. It's always going to be us.
Whatever. Yeah.
So,
That
that's
is
how
good.
people find
That
us.
is good.
It's a great way to travel, by the way. Just go to your favorite place to travel and then type in winery near me, or brewery near me. You'll find the best places to go.
Yeah.
So
When do we hear about the next cut on the on this
Oh,
award?
it's already happened.
Yeah.
We didn't make the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
We made the first
We
cut.
made 70, and then that's it. They sent a very nice letter and said, 70 out of 15,000 is remarkable.
It is
In and of
remarkable. No,
itself.
that's fine.
But no, we didn't.
I want to look up the other
I can share that with
companies
you.
that
It's a US
made the
chamber.
next cut.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, there were only 2 companies in the Eastern region, us and one other company, and we
Wow.
lost out to that one other company. I mean, it was a tough choice. There's a lot of businesses out there.
Oh, there's
doing
a
some
lot
great
of
stuff.
businesses,
So
yeah.
it's
70,000 applied. There's 700,000
15,000.
or 15,000,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah.
So they picked it. It was regional, so they picked so many per
Per region.
and
That's
then they
nice.
dialed it
Yeah.
down to 10, and then out of that 10, they selected 1. So we
Wow.
didn't get there. So
Well, good for them. It's cool. It seems like they do a good selection process. They ask good questions. So all of the companies that made that 70 cut, I'm sure, are really unique places to visit.
Yeah,
Maybe
one
not.
thing, no. One thing I was thinking that I am sorry that the timing didn't work out right, but our website had not been launched when this decision was made.
That could be it.
And well, I think because I went and looked at the websites of the companies that made it, and
They're
they're
all
all
modern.
very well done.
Like our new one.
Right. And we talked about this for a long time, that
We knew it
we
was holding us
get
back.
national press,
Right.
and then the national media will put our name out there, and the first thing you learn about us is our website. And I've talked about this before. Although our website served us really well for 12 years, I never felt like it spoke to who we were. It was a tool. It was a functional tool. That,
Well, you're not a web designer,
I'm not a web
and you were
designer.
running this whole
Yes,
thing.
I'm not. Yeah, and it's not. I'm not
No, it was good.
complaining about it. It served our needs, and it helped people find us, and it helped people learn about us. And
Right.
and it
But
had
the new one
some things
is
that were really
so
important.
much better.
But the new one describes who we are.
Right.
And for the final cut, when they went to, when they had to make that final judgment and they went and saw our website, well, it would have been a letdown for me. If I was trying to decide what is
Right.
the best
Right.
small business in America, I would expect that
Because it's got to
best
look
small
good
business
on
would have their best
got to look
foot
good
forward.
on them too. They
That's
can't
right.
They can't choose something that's got a clunky old website.
Well, because it's not the best.
Yeah.
What was the competition? They were
Right.
looking for the best.
Right.
And that's a big package, and it involves a lot of things. And I think that the website is the first way that most of the people who know us find us, that see us. It's the very first time. They don't see us for the first time in the tasting room. They see us for the first time on the internet.
So this
So if
gentleman,
you haven't been to the new website, go check it out. It is really cool, and it's really efficient in a strange way because it seems so simple. I mean, I'm used to websites that
I know,
that just-
that's what, yeah.
that just there's like so many choices, so many things to click on, and this is like one thing and then a menu bar. You
Yeah.
really want something, click on the menu bar, but it's intuitive enough that it knows what you might be looking for, and it
Yeah.
kind of takes you there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find it to be.
So we've never had a wine this color.
This is the Winnipesaukee Rosé.
This is the brand new vintage of Winnipesaukee
Why is
Rosé.
it
And
so red?
this dovetails really nice into this.
Well, no, that dovetails into this because we started with that.
Well, okay, whatever. A dovetail. It's two things going into the dovetail.
Oh, I can
So-
feel. So wait a minute. Is a dovetail like that? Is that a dovetail?
Yes.
It's something like that.
Something. Okay.
Dovetail's just fan, right? It's
Yeah.
just a way of having a wedge.
It's a dovetail.
Yeah, it's two and a one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
normally the rosé is a much lighter color than this. And last fall,
God, that's good.
when we were, I like this,
Wow.
but it's a different format. And I'll tell you why it's a different format.
Because it has Brettanomyces?
Mm-mm. Because,
That's a joke. Sorry.
I know, but sometimes your jokes come at a moment when I just want to keep talking past it because I don't want to go into this
That's interesting.
really fun
How
joke
that
sort of
works.
format, you know? So that's why I was just going to carry on for a
You
moment.
mean when
Please carry
somebody's
on.
trying to be serious and somebody's joking?
Yes.
I do that?
Yes.
No, I never do
Oh,
that.
you
No,
never-
I never
never
do
go
that.
through
Did you
that.
notice me in the intro today?
Yeah, no, you did
Didn't
very
do a
well.
thing. I'm gonna pay attention. I'm gonna grow
You
up.
don't need alcohol.
So
to
why
tell
is
gonna
us
grow
your
up a little bit.
prefrontal cortex.
So why is the color on this so profound?
So normally when we make rosé, as our base, we use a fresh pressed sweet cider.
Right.
So it's just Macintosh and high sugar apples that create this base, and then the Kingston Black and the cranberries come forward. And it's a much lighter color. Well, last year, things got a little mixed up, I guess, in the communication with Apple Hill Farm on the cider. And they showed up with a whole bunch of heirloom cider
No.
instead of sweet cider, which is twice the price.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just
It came
wanted
in
that.
a big truck.
Yeah, the big tanker.
Like it's a tanker
Yeah,
truck
a tanker truck.
of heirloom ciders.
And I'm like, oh, Chuck Souther, I'm really sorry. I wanted the sweet cider. He says, oh no, I get it. Yeah, that was my mistake. I know you emailed me, you texted me. I put it out there lots of times, so it was
Well, you've
clear
been doing it
what
for
I
years too.
need, and we've been doing it for years. And he says, look, you can have it at the price of the sweet cider, and maybe it makes a better rosé that you like, and we'll be using heirloom in the future.
Oh.
So
calculated.
So he was fine. He just put it forward. But I like the result, but I don't like it as much as the classic rosé because it's a little too heavy, a little too much tannic
It is pretty
backbone to it.
Yeah,
to me.
it's pretty tannic, yeah.
But I like the vintage, and it's really
Why the
fascinating.
color though? Because some of those apples had more.
Those
color to them.
apples tend to make a darker,
Oh, okay.
richer format. I don't, color. I don't know. It's color. It's a fascinating process.
Well, like
To make wines.
I've been talking about recently, we consume our wine and food with all of our senses.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take the color out of it.
It's a beautiful color.
It is very good.
I really,
I had to say it, but I think I like it better.
yeah.
I
It's
like that.
You'd have to do
Um,
it side by side, I think.
I
It
really.
has a little bitterness.
It's
in
got a
the-
big grippy back end,
Yeah.
which isn't really appropriate for a rosé
Yeah.
because it's not going to pair as well
Oh, I know. Yeah,
with a high acid environment. Because if you have
it's more tannic.
a vinaigrette salad or something with our old rosé, it'd be fine. If you have it with this, the grip is going to hit you. So I think it's probably not as food friendly as the previous rosé.
Yeah, maybe so.
But
That's very good.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the way it came out. I'm really happy about the experiment and the thing that happened. But
This is in our club release.
this is in the club release.
Yes.
Yeah,
the book
yeah. I
right
want to
there.
make sure all the club members got
So
a chance to have it.
If you've if you've had a chance, let us know. We'd like to know what you think about the new Sake Rosé, because it's different. It's quite different.
It's been really well received for sure. If not, if anything, maybe a little better received than the past rosé. So maybe my interest in what a rosé should be is not quite aligned with other people's.
But you get to decide because you're the winemaker.
Oh yeah, I've already decided. He's bringing sweet cider next week. I used to double it up. He would bring me heirloom cider at the same time he brings me sweet cider. I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. So right now I have heirloom cider, my one purchase of heirloom cider, and that's fermenting downstairs. And next week I'm bringing in a tanker of sweet cider.
For the next vintage of when
for the next vintage
because
of
a rosé
rosé
should be more acidic.
Yeah, well, a much lower tannic backbone. You know, classic rosé, you take a red skin grape and you crush it up, let it sit for a couple hours, and then press it off. So you don't have a lot of tannins.
You know what you might experiment with? You probably don't want to hear this, but I think there might be something in between the two. Because I like Chuck, like some of the characteristics that this delivers.
I think it's a good product for sure, but I don't think it fits rosé.
No, but that's why.
Like you always said, what's the point? What's the purpose of the wine?
If there's something in between that might not make sense. I don't know, like half and half.
Yeah,
Do you know how many? You know
I
how
don't
many
wanna-
things
I
I
don't
want to
wanna hear
make
that.
that
I don't
I'm
wanna
not
hear that.
making?
I know.
There's already way too many things that are being made that I
For
can't
me,
seem to
without-
stop.
Without food, this is a really nice
Yes.
drinking thing.
Right.
That's the thing. But if it's you need the acidity for your vinaigrette or whatever, it's not the same thing. But
Well, so
it's a nice, easy drinking.
Oh, I think it's a really, and I think with robust cheeses and things like that, it's going to go just awesome with.
I actually when I throw a curveball at this, and I don't know if this is true yet because I haven't tried it, but I feel like the other rosé with this little bit more tartness,
it gives you that.
goes with more foods than this.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I just said.
you're
Okay.
agreeing with him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, this will not go with a bunch of foods that are
It's
high
gonna-
acid,
yeah,
make
yeah,
your
okay.
mouth water because the tannins
Yeah.
will come out, and then it'll be too grippy and weird.
Well,
But like you said, on its own, it's
Yeah, no, I
that's
I
and
think I
then
like
the
it
color
better
is just
by
gorgeous.
itself.
I just love the color.
No,
It's
the
really
color's great. And the mouth feels great too. It's really soft.
yeah. I think I've been trying to do a couple of techniques to soften the wines. It's as I evolve, there's so much to try to get it done, try to make it balanced, try to get it to work. But now I'm getting that part to where I can get it done. And now it's like, okay, how do I nuance it? How do I, and those, it's, the first 95% is easy. It's those next few percent that are really hard.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm working on now with each one. Like with the rose hip and
They
kiwi
get
and
better every year.
peaches and each one trying to make it a little more nuanced.
It was great today. I had a couple in the winery that did a tour today, and
Oh yeah, how did they like the wine? It was nice meeting them downstairs.
they loved it. And it was great because these people came with some background. They'd been making wine together, similar to the way we started for many years together.
He makes us strawberry wine, and they import
knew a lot
grapes
about
and
wine,
make
and
wine.
they were so excited to hear how we did it and what we did, and they loved every one of the wines. They thought they were all great, and it's such a joy to share. I mean, that's what this is about for me. Is the opportunity to share. I mean, I did so many things.
Yeah, he's downstairs with these people. He's like, he looks at me, and goes, "Well, I had a whole bunch of stuff I was going to do today, but then I'm doing." I said, "Of course you are. This is the best stuff. Put that other stuff
I'm
off."
doing this anyway. So a couple things we got sidetracked. You mentioned the website. I want to say it again. There's a brand new website out there, and if you haven't been to hermitwoods.com in the last 3 weeks, you haven't seen it yet. So we would love your feedback. So go to the website and send us an email or a text or a message or something on Facebook. So let us know what you think. And keep in mind, it's not entirely done. We launched it early. We wanted to get it out there. There's a few pages that don't exist yet that like
joining the club.
Joining the club, and also our Facebook Live page isn't live yet. So that's coming. Give us a couple more weeks and we'll finish it. But anyway, it's fun. It's really fun. And take the time if you're looking at it for the first time, to read the copy, because
Oh, yeah.
that's where it's at. It's the pictures tell our story.
It was a
certainly very
fascinating
well.
process. You've worked in, marketing and advertisement for a long time, and Chuck and I have purchased stuff for a long time. So we're consumers, but we've never really knew on the backside what goes into creating a memorable image, a memorable string of words, a phrase, a tagline. These are the things that people do for livings. They're hugely important to our whole system. And Chuck and I got to go through this for the first time for us in this sort of capacity. And it was a fascinating endeavor. And it sometimes really strange. It's like, it's like people, I just saw Sasquatch. We got to do something with Sasquatch. I'm like, what? Yeah, with your motorcycle. What? Chuck's gonna ride it. What?
But when you see that,
and then you see that image with his goggles
the
on.
page,
I know
and it
it's
talks
awesome.
about it references, where we are and finding us, and it all comes together. And then when you read the page, I think anyway, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but I think it tells our story brilliantly. That's what the last website didn't do. It just gave the information. It didn't tell the story. This site
Deb and Paul
tells the story.
spent years with us,
2 years.
asking us questions, sticking pages up on walls, asking us to come back with our favorite bird.
What's your favorite bird and why, or something?
Yeah, the favorite bird.
And that came
And
into
also-
the end result. That the answers to those questions were molded in.
And it's shaped, and it's the way they could understand who we were to actually then articulate it
Right.
in the visuals and in the copy.
Right.
It's really brilliant.
The other thing I wanted to mention, there was talk about us trying to do a excursion to visit the Hermit, and we almost made that happen. But
Priscilla.
it didn't happen. Priscilla went.
Yeah.
Priscilla, excellent job attempting to find the Hermit. I'm really sorry that you didn't find the Hermit, and we're gonna make this right in two ways. One, I'm going to hike out to the Hermit. Hopefully one of you will join me.
And you're going to bury a bottle of wine there for whoever comes back. This is going to be the greatest geocaching system around. Hermit Woods wine is going to be buried at different places on motorcycle trails, hiking trails, ski trails.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a new thing. It's just coming through to me
Yeah,
right
coming
now.
through to Kendrick.
This is
Channeling
it.
from
This
the
is
ancestors.
geocaching
Yeah,
on a new level.
Nice.
This is vino caching. We're going to do vino caching.
Which,
Yeah.
okay, just a little note for those listening from the official side, that isn't happening, just so you know. But anyway,
Did I say that out loud? I was just thinking.
you said on the internet,
Oh, I did? Oh, we would never do that. No, that's not legal.
it lives forever.
Really?
There.
Like bury wine
That's
for
crazy.
people to go
Well, it
find?
never
Oh,
happened.
no, we would never do
It's
that.
totally illegal.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
All right, we'd never do that.
But we are going to go visit the Hermit, and I'm going to GPS it. And if any of you have ever heard of what 3 words, you're going to want to find out about it if you haven't.
Get the app.
I'm going
Could you
to
do what
find-
3? Could you put bottles of wine at what 3-word spots? Or is that illegal?
Here he
too?
goes
It'd still
again.
be
I thought we
illegal.
covered this.
Jesus.
Still be illegal. Yeah.
So
Even if what 3
I'm
words is
going to
not
put
illegal.
the 3 words that are associated with the very spot that the gravesite is located on. And you can use the 3 words app to actually physically geolocate that spot. So if you're familiar with what 3 words, stay tuned. In the next few weeks, we're going to hike out there. We're going to label the spot, and we're going to give you the path to the
Hide a bottle.
And we're not going to hide a bottle.
We're not going to hide a bottle.
And the other thing that we'll do is I'll create a GPS path that will be a little more accurate than the one that I drew on our website, because there is a drawing of, and it's kind of right, but it's.
I
it's
remember
hard
we
to
went
find.
there, but that was in 2011.
That was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah. So, so stay tuned for that. And also, we promise we are going to invite all of you or whoever would like to on a public hike to this gravesite. We're going to do that next summer. It's too wet out there right now, as Priscilla discovered.
It's too wet everywhere.
Right, it's too wet everywhere. So hopefully next summer we'll have a little drier summer, and we'll have a little drying. Because I remember the first time we went out there and there was no mud. We could just hop across.
Yeah, we just hopped across a little tiny creek, no
Yeah.
wider than this countertop.
But, Priscilla was wading through deep mud to get to this. So that will come. We'll put it out there. But before that, if anybody wants to venture out in their wading boots and brave the mud, I'm going to put the what 3 words for the Hermit's grave, and you can go out there and find it yourself.
Well, you got to go first.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
All right.
I promise. I'm going to hold me to it. If I don't do it in the next couple of weeks,
You
can
promise.
get on me.
You
I
promise. Live.
I've been wanting
right
to
here.
do this for a long
I
time.
know.
so
Let's
I'm
hold him to it.
Hold me to it. It shouldn't take that long. It's only 20 minutes from here.
I know, it's close by. I'll drive past it tonight.
So
there it is.
once again, you've squandered another hour of your life.
You've
Listening to
you've
the-
spent well another hour with all of us.
and we so enjoy the fact that you folks enjoy being here with us, and I wish I could spend more time answering. I've read some.
We
of the
need to
comments
talk
along the
about
way,
we
but-
need to talk about some fun club things with us too.
Well, that's what this club. that's what
Holiday
the snail-
parties,
we have a
hikes.
holiday party coming.
We have a holiday party coming up.
That's coming up, and there's another thing we're trying to get scheduled too.
Trick or treat?
Well, that's trick or treat. If you're in the area, you should trick or treat. We have one of the best trick or treat
We like
spots.
tricks better than treats. So if you want to cover the building in toilet paper or confetti,
Really?
Really?
yeah, I won't be
Wow.
here. Yeah. So.
Oh, here.
I won't be here.
I like to see the pictures though.
You just want to see the
Ben's
picture.
burying wine in
I'm
the-
burying wine and he's getting people to throw toilet paper
in
all
the
over.
building, and,
That's great.
I'm trying to keep things together.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
amazing what you wish for when you surround yourselves with these crazy creative people.
So yeah,
Right?
it's been a great ride. If you want to read all of it,
See how he
Love
blocks us out?
Yeah.
You know, just like it's so subtle. It's so
if you
subtle.
wanted to read the whole story, come on up. If you're not a club member, you're welcome to come and grab a book. We have extra copies all the time, and you can read the story about how we answered the questions that got us into the 70th spot of the.
You know, one of my favorite pictures?
What's your favorite picture? I know.
I love that picture.
The pumpkin one?
I love that picture. This
Me
one.
taking the sign.
Oh,
When he
yeah,
used to
motorcycle.
strap that on the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
of his motorcycle and drive down and put the signs up.
And the picture of us at visiting the grave. That was the very first day we were open. The very first
Yeah.
day we closed the
Yeah.
winery and went
That was
down.
June of 2011.
And,
That's the one and only time we've been there,
Yeah.
or I've been there.
So lots of great history here.
Yeah.
Come
Is
on
that
up
the
and
only
get
time you've been
your
there?
copy.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
haven't
me too.
already. Thank you, everybody. Again, we will look forward to seeing you next Monday. And until then, have a great week. And
Happy
stay
Halloween.
tuned for the what 3 words. And go research it if you don't know what
What
they are.
3
You
words?
want to know.
We have what 3 words for this spot too.
All right.
Do you remember
It's
those?
happy
We do.
wine.
Yeah, I don't remember what they are, but
Happy
we do.
wine.
I posted them, but we'll put them out there again. We'll put the what 3 words for us.
We need that on our business
We
cards
need that on our business
and the website.
and the website. So
Yes.
hold us to it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Buenas noches.
Buenas
Buenas noches.
Au revoir.
0.08.